Hello and welcome to this edition of SFG Top Performance Feed and Grain Podcast. With me today is our regular staff, Scott Goetz, who is now has a new title. He's the Feed Division Manager, Sales Manager. He'll watch out for all the feed sales and work with the salesman. And then Kent Watson, who works out of the Albi office and is a primary feed salesman, also does some agronomy work for us. My name's Mark White. I'm a grain merchandiser for Smith Fertilizer and Grain. Talk a little bit about grains to start off today's podcast. A lot of years, the 4th of July is a turning point in the grain markets. And right now it appears, at least for corn, that was very true this year. We had kind of worked higher since last fall, with a few setbacks this early summer, late spring time frame, but we were really keeping the markets pretty strong. We went home last Friday prior to the 4th of July, and it could have went either way. The forecast was for a little bit of rain in the Midwest, but a lot of hot, dry weather. But by the time the trade opened back up Tuesday morning after a 3-day weekend, things went downhill fast, and corn ended the day down the limit. Beans were down in the 85 to 90 cent range. So not a very good day after the 4th of July, you could say. The rest of this week, beans have kind of moderated, got a little bit back. There's still not a weather story there because August is the time frame that beans are either make it or break it. Meanwhile, the corn market has continued to struggle. And it's not that we're out of trouble everywhere. There's still about 38% of the corn acres are in a moderate to extreme drought condition as of this week. But the areas that are good, and that would include our area and on east and south, have been getting ample rain, and the cooler weather has really made a difference. Corn is starting to pollinate in our area. It's kind of neat this year with the even stands that we had. The corn came up really even in most of the fields, and so when it's tasseling this year, it goes from a few tassels to full tassel almost overnight, the whole field. And so that can be good and bad also. That shortens your pollination period just a little bit, but if the conditions are right, like they are right now, a little cooler, plenty of moisture, we get that job done in a hurry, and it should be successful. So we still don't know what kind of damage we might have saw back there in the May time frame when we had a lot of extreme heat, and that's when the plants in that V5 to 6, 7 range, that's when they're setting the girth of that ear way back early. And we might have lost a couple rows due to that stress at that time frame. So as we go forward, old crop corn is struggling to stay above $6, and it appears it probably will close the week below $6. That would be local cash bids. And we've been above $6 all spring and summer, so we're definitely headed down, it appears. Meanwhile, old crop beans are still in that 13.5, 13.75 range. They keep getting just a little strength back once in a while after they lose. The problem with corn, I think the end users have secured their supply for the near term, so they're a little more lax about worrying as we get into that late August period right before harvest, when there might be some needs there. New crop prices, corn's dropped below $5. Today it doesn't appear we're going to get back above that unless we build more heat back into this forecast and it becomes detrimental to the larger area. New crop beans are in the $12.50 range. That's a buck and a half down from our highs. So it's still a good price, still a profitable price, not bad place to start making some sales if you haven't already. So the outside forces, the export markets have slowed down quite a bit. The corn harvest, second crop safrinha corn in South America is happening, and they're priced about 50 cents a bushel under us today. Now, they've lost bushels down there, both from drought earlier in the season and a widespread frost that occurred about 2 weeks ago. So the full damage there is not known, but they will have less bushels. So hopefully that brings those buyers back to us a little quicker. On the bean side, export business really slow this time of year. That's normal. They're still cleaning up the supplies out of South America, and it's pretty hard to compete with them. One bright spot on the corn is the ethanol market has really took off. We're almost back to pre-pandemic times as far as the usage. People are driving more, they're using more gasoline. None of us want to pay more for gasoline, but the high prices are actually a good thing for the ethanol business. And oil continues to be a strong commodity. They're kind of the leader right now yet as far as the pricing. So weather will continue to be a story, although on the corn side, it's going to happen the next 2 weeks if we're going to really screw things up. Otherwise, things will pretty much be set. Beans, we look for the August weather. Last year in our area, we missed those August rains. We had a heck of a good-looking crop, but we lost 5 to 8 bushel real easy there in August. And the same thing could happen again in a wider area this year. And we're not projecting a large carryout. We're in the 155 range today, and so it wouldn't take a lot of weather issues to really put us under the gun there too. So with that, we'll move to the feed side and bring on Kent, and he'll have some discussion points.
Thanks, Mark. Well, as we move into the heart of the summer now, we're, of course, going into the show season and fair season. And with that, we'll be, these kids will be, getting out and showing these animals. And, I hate to date myself, but when I was 50 plus years ago showing animals, it was a pretty simple, you use a lot of the same feeds you use for what you feed the rest of your animals with, and so it wasn't a very complicated situation. But today, these animals with the genetics that they have, they're basically like you're feeding elite athletes is basically what you're doing, and so the assortment or numbers of supplements and feeds that are available to feed these animals is mind-boggling. I can't believe how many options there are. We are fortunate in that we're partnered with the Kent and Hubbard feed groups with their show feeds, and they have a long history and proven track record of supplying the very best show feeds that you can get, and basically they will pretty much meet any standard need and requirement that these animals need to meet their and express their full genetic potential. So, like I said, it's something that I've been getting more involved with the show feeds, and it's something that it's a science now more than anything else to feed these animals. I know many of our staff here at SFG do have quite a history of experience of showing animals, and they're more than willing to help people with questions and helping them maybe select some things that they need. And if we do need extra help, we do have access to some of the most, some specialists that are probably some of the best show people in the United States. And so we will be able to help you whatever we can. So if you want to come in and see us, we'd be more than glad to help you if we can, and provide you with the products you need to hopefully make your fair a success. So that's all I got, Mark.
Well, thanks, Kent, and I appreciate your comments about how it used to be in the show ring, and I know when my brothers and I were showing, we took animals out of our own herd and fed them just like we fed everything else.
Yep.
and did minimal work with them.
Well, our biggest concern was being not drug around getting those animals broken, thus they're not getting drug around the show ring. So
Yeah.
that was our biggest concern. So yeah.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you got going on today?
Well, Mark, we're into July now. Summer's moving along quickly. Corn around Milo's looking very good. Beans, I thought, were struggling a little bit, but they're starting to pick up now. They're starting to look pretty good too. Producers are working on their second cut in alfalfa between the rain showers. It's still kind of dry over around Milo. We don't have an excess of moisture. It needs to keep raining the rest of the summer, but sounds to me like down south they could do without a little bit of rain. Sounds like they need to dry out a little bit, what I've heard. Hay yields, I've been hearing they're all over the board. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of hay supply we end up with this year. On that thought, it's not too early to start thinking about your winter forage needs. Most farmers maintain a consistent number of cattle, so the amount of hay that they need doesn't change much from year to year. However, it is important to keep track of your production through the summer so you kind of know where you're at. This will allow you to make decisions on whether and when and if you are going to purchase forages. So maybe you can buy some before the price goes up, but from what I've heard, maybe the price is already going up on hay. So I don't know what that's going to amount to this year. Another important thing to know about is your quality of your forages. Feeding hay without a test is just that, feeding hay. Testing will allow you to balance your hay as you feed. Poor quality hay you can feed early when their nutrition needs are lower. Better quality hay you can feed later in the winter when their nutrition needs are higher. This also allows you to plan if you're going to need to feed a supplement or not and how much you will need to feed. If you're feeding supplements just in case, maybe you're spending money needlessly. The cost of testing could save you the unneeded cost of overfeeding or underfeeding supplements. It is getting down to time to seriously start thinking about creep feeding. I know a lot of you guys are still on the fence about it this year, but just keep in mind this will help stretch your summer forage and it will allow your cows to hold better condition, and it will still return an income on your investment. I think creep feeding always pays, not just in dollars and cents, but also in the health of your cows and your calves and the health of your pasture. So stop in at your local SFG, or you can contact Kent or myself about creep pricing and sampling forages. And kind of on Kent's note, at this time I would like to wish all of our 4-H and FFA kids good luck at their county fairs, and I would like to thank you all for allowing SFG to help you with your projects this year. And that's all I got for you, Mark.
Well, thanks, Scott. I think you definitely hit a strong point on the hay. It just doesn't appear a lot of fields had the production this spring, and so the summer weather is going to play a big role in the supply. An old cowman told me years ago there's two ways to go broke, and that's buying hay and selling hay.
Yep.
And that holds true a lot of times. You know, either you got the supply and everybody else has it, or you don't have it and you got to buy it. So we hope things moderate in that aspect. Well, we'll wrap up this edition. I want to remind everybody to visit our website, sfgiowa.com. We post our daily grain markets there. There's also blogs written weekly by all the departments, so you can garner some information that's current and up to date. Thank you for joining us.